Hello, and welcome to makers.dev episode number 98. That's your cue.
Hello.
That didn't work at all.
Switched it up. Like Chris says something in the beginning because we had this audio issue, but apparently people are complaining that it's that they don't like that we switch back and forth. So
And you know who you are.
so,
But that was worse.
We're not going to make anyone happy. I have a trivia question for you regarding the number 98. Do you have a guess as to which country has the country code for your phone plus 98?
Oh, plus 98 would be like a later country.
Yeah.
I am not up on my latest countries. I have no idea. A country that has been created in the last 30 years. That's my guess.
Oh, I don't know. Probably. It's Iran. So I don't know. I don't know how old Iran is or when they would have gotten a phone.
Yeah, I was going to say older than that, but okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Interesting. Right.
Yeah. That's what I was going for. Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I would. There's like 192 countries actually. So I guess if your country code is like 190 something, then that would be my guess. It would be like,
Yeah.
But actually,
Iran was like middle of the pack.
Maybe, but I actually have no idea how country codes are assigned either. So I don't know.
What a cool flex that I didn't realize was a flex until I traveled abroad and realized that people had country codes that were different than one. Like I was so confused. Like why sometimes when I dial numbers does it say one? Like 1-800? Why is there the one there? But it's because we invented phones, my dude. Like we get to assign the number one to us. Who's two? Does someone have two?
I don't know.
Huh. I also don't know. I want to derail this episode and just talk about country codes now.
We're on the internet. We can find out. We'll find out later.
How
about that?
We could. Maybe for episode 99, we'll figure out what country does that, what the system is. Cool. What did you get up to this last week?
I worked like I'm going to do every week now forever, I guess. That's what I did. And then Kaggle too. So Kaggle is probably the more interesting one. I switched from, there's a point in every like machine learning journey, competition journey where you switch from like just wildly experimenting to like really focusing on one sort of strategy. And that's kind of what I did, especially before Thanksgiving. I'm about to leave and I don't have like external VPN access to my computer at home here. So I'm trying to get a generate data that I can then use while I'm gone. So that's what I'm doing. I'm running my GPU all the time now for the last couple days. Yep.
Cool. Remind me the problem you're... Oh, this is the gravitational wave.
Yep. There's a gravitational wave one. Yep. I figured out how to simulate gravitational waves, which is pretty neat. I have a strategy which seems to be working. Someone posted some public code that beats mine, but the way they did it is by using basically making the beginning of the network really, really large. And so I can't even run it on my GPU. So I think whoever wins is going to use that code because it's better than what I think other people are using. But that means I might have to rent like a $3 an hour GPU for a while.
Gotcha.
So I don't know how much money I want to spend on that if I'm not even able to win actual money in the competition. But
yes, you could still get the prestige though. The thing you said that in every AI problem, there's like an exploration and then there's like a follow that strategy. That's a general framework that I find a lot of this explore versus exploit in everything, in every project I do, and like shopping things and life strategies. This explore versus exploit, the divergent first, just to map all the different possible things, and then the convergent, figure out the thing that's currently working the best, and I just double down on that. I've heard that also referred to as the multi-armed bandit problem. That like if you, I think the way the problem's formed is if you're in a casino and there's a bunch of different slot machines and you don't know what the payout of each one is, what's the strategy to maximize your payout? And it's something like explore, exploit. You go and try a whole bunch of different machines making small bets. So then, if you know there's 100 machines and you know that you've tried 30 of them, you just keep doing the one that gave you the best return of those 30. The secretary problem is also a related problem. I know a lot about that. I should write a blog post. I have a lot of connected thoughts about explore versus exploit. You mentioned so you're going to be traveling like for Thanksgiving, and you don't have a VPN to be able to be using your GPU. I I have two conflicting thoughts. The first is, why not just set up a VPN? And the second is, why are you working over Thanksgiving?
Not so much that I want to be working, but if I want to run long-running experiments, I can't like restart them and stuff. So I wish I could VPN in just to like restart experiments and stuff. Part of the reason I haven't set up one is exactly because I shouldn't be working over Thanksgiving break. Although that's when I get a lot of, fun stuff done. So yeah, I haven't looked too deeply into it. But the other problem was, I don't have a fixed IP address. And I can pay for one, but I think it's like $5 a month, but I just have to call them and I haven't called them. So once I do that, then I'll have a fixed IP address, and then I don't even need like a fancy third-party service, I think.
Yeah, like ngrok. Okay.
Yeah. I could just run ngrok forever. I mean, then if it restarts, I don't have any way to, or if it like something goes wrong, I don't have any way to restart it. But if I just left it running, then that would work.
Yeah. Or set up ngrok to like automatically start when you.
Yeah.
And I think ngrok is on the order of $5 a month to have a fixed.
I already paid for it. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So. Yeah. Hey, you solved my problem for me. Great.
Now I can work over Thanksgiving and be distant from my family. Do you have any fun Thanksgiving plans?
No, just going to my wife's parents and gonna hang out. So, yep. For
cool.
a few
Let
days.
the record show you don't think going to your wife's parents is fun.
Thanks.
There's a clip. That's a clip we need on social media. Cool. I found interesting article on Hacker News this last week that would be fun to talk about a little bit.
Cool.
Called Pomodoro with Friends. It's at pomochat.com, and it's an idea that we sort of talked about. Oh, they renamed to Remote Yo because someone in the Hacker News was like, don't use the word Pom in your product name. Okay, so it's this chat room where every half hour on the half hour, everybody starts working, and then 25 minutes later, I don't fully understand, but I think the chat gets activated or something. But it's this sort of idea, like working in groups and POMs and co-working, and I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that is neat. There's a couple variations of this. I think some are paid. I don't know if that one's paid or not, and some are like. I was in one once actually where, or it wasn't quite this, but what was it? What am I trying to say? They had groups like this, but it was long running, so it was like over a whole summer. So I wasn't in that part of what I was in, but they had that as part of the offering if you wanted it. Yeah. So it was more like it was Alex Hillman's thing, not with Amy Hoy, but his separate thing.
Oh, we talked about that.
Yeah, and I don't remember what it's called.
12 weeks to something.
Something. Yeah. So, okay. and as part of that, you could do co-working if you wanted to, but
cool.
Yeah, so that's
I think I prefer smaller groups. Like if it's a thing that starts every half hour on the half hour, I could see waking up and being like, well, it starts in 2 minutes, but I want to like make breakfast or something, and then just continuing to delay. But if it's like a meeting you have scheduled with a specific person who's texting you like, hey, where are you? Like you're gonna, I don't know. There's something nicer about that longer term, deeper relationship. But I'm very curious about this sort of thing of, can this be replicated at scale? What might that look like to be doing it with more people?
Yeah. Speaking of which, we haven't done co-working for a while because my schedule is all crazy now. How has that been going?
It's been going well. It's functional. It's interesting. Like, oh man, this feels sort of like talking about a new girlfriend with your ex-girlfriend. Like you're very different people, and I'm still getting my work done, and like. Brian is a different co-working partner to you, and it's different. I'm still getting stuff done, which is the part that I like the best. I think like the core thing is that I'm co-working with someone and that I have something to tie me to the mast of making sure that I'm showing up every day and pushing forward on goals, and just that mechanism of there's another person who I'm accountable to, who's not my wife, who like is working on their own thing, and I say the thing that I'm about to do, and then I do it, and then I say how I did it. So that part is going very well.
Cool. Yeah, good. Yep. And I still don't know. My schedule changes every week now. With the holidays especially, it's going to be crazy through the end of the year for sure. So still don't know if I'll be able to get back to co-working at some point or not, but we'll see.
I have adapted and would love to. Yeah, either way. Let me know.
All right. Sounds good.
Cool. I have a bunch of different things I'd like to talk about today. So talking about clips, talking about FileInbox, and then a lot of personal stuff and a lot of goal setting stuff and a book recommendation and some more fun stuff that I'm doing.
Okay.
So cool. Let's dig into it. I decided on a name for clips.marketing, and I have a justification for why I'm calling it this. I'm calling it thevideoclipper.com.
Okay.
And here's why. Video clipper as a phrase has really good SEO. And the domain name video-clipper was also available. But so things I'm optimizing for are, I want to be able to get a taste of that video clipper traffic at some point, but that's going to be difficult to capture in the beginning because I have 0 backlinks. And I want people who see a watermark of a video that says my product name to be able to Google my product name and find my product. If my product right now was called Video Clipper and someone says, let me look for Video Clipper, they're going to get a list of all my competitors. And I'm not going to be on there until like the 3rd page, even though my thing is named videoclipper.com. But if they search for the Video Clipper, I'm pretty sure that they're going to be able to find me on like as the top result, just with the word the. And then hopefully I'll be able to start getting domain credit. And in 6 to 12 months, I will be ranking on the 1st page for the term Video Clipper. And then I'll have the option of switching to names to videoclipper.com, a la Facebook, going from the Facebook to facebook.com. And hopefully no enterprising listener gets wise to this and snatches the domain up from underneath me.
I don't think anyone's going to pay $3,500 just to snatch it from you.
I would hope not. I hope there's no one wealthy and petty enough. It would take a combination of the two.
Yeah.
And like, in the worst case, if I'm not able to get it, like the Video Clipper, I think is fine to go with for the long term. So that's, and it's a .com, and it didn't cost any extra money. It's just a $12 a month domain name. So that's the name. And now I can stop thinking about this and move on to the next steps. Any thoughts on the new name?
Yeah, I think that's great. I'm glad you didn't spend $3,500 before you knew if it was going to work or not. In a few months, if you hate the name, then you can switch, no problem. And if you really like the name, then you can spend the money and get the other thing. You can also, once you build domain authority, you can do a 301, which I think transfers the domain authority, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think so. That should be good. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, I did that going from DB inbox to FileInbox, and just overnight, I instantly inherited all the domain credit. So yeah, I'm not concerned about that. Cool. So the thing that you gave me permission to work on this last week as my unofficial boss was to just entirely focus on clips.marketing. No, the Video Clipper. Oh, that's going to take some time to adjust to.
Yes.
Entirely focus on the Video Clipper stuff, adding downloading of clips and then billing and then launching it with these paid plans. And I got most of the clip rendering done. I got most of the downloading done. You can download the raw video, and that was euphoric to get. Like, it's a magic button that downloads the clip. And that's just in like the raw format. It's unedited. It's just the start and end times. And I added that I can render an optimized square version of it with the transcript in it. And that's cool. I'm actually delivering value. Yeah. It's still a little clunky. There's some rough edges of right now. There's a bug where if you try to download the square one before you've tried to download the raw one, it just doesn't work. That's a problem. Yeah. So there's some polishing I need to do with that. And because I've come up with a name for it, now I can make a Stripe account, and I have this whole component of how to integrate Firebase in a Next app with this nice hook. And there's this really, really nice integration called a plugin. Is that right? Extension, Firebase extension. That's just a one-click install to automatically integrate Stripe, and that's syncing the Stripe models with your Firebase objects and everything else. So that feels... on the hill chart, feels like I'm on the downhill. The complexity is sort of waded through. I've gone through the jungle of the divergent work, and now it's just actually implementing it. So, but there is just one more potential unknown, which is that I need to decide on how much to actually be charging people and what that pricing model looks like. I want to try doing freemium because I think freemium would work especially well as a marketing channel for people who are like making and syndicating videos. Like the whole point of this is now you have a video and you're going to put it in different places. So I think I can look at the minuscule cost that I'm paying for resources for people who are using this for free as a marketing channel, and then I just have a watermark in the bottom. So I think the way I want to think about this is I want free users to be able to use everything about the product except videos are watermarked, which is a similar form that I've seen other people in this online video space do.
Yeah.
And then if they publish their video, great. That's marketing for me. And I can even have a bumper at the end of it with a cool little animation of clips thing. And I think then I want two different tiers, because the people I'm talking to are sort of at two different levels. There's people who are like, well, this podcast is sort of a hobby for me and it's not making money and I don't really have any sponsors and it's sort of this offshoot of this other thing I'm doing, but I haven't quite closed that sales funnel. And I'm paying for Descript, and I bought Final Cut Pro, and there's these other tools that are around $30 a month that I'm paying for that are okay, but more than that would kind of be painful for this side project hobby thing. Oh, Riverside would be another product that people are using for this. And for those sorts of people, I would like a product that I can give them that's around $30 a month. And then there's people who are like professionals who know that more people seeing their stuff directly translates into more money. And for them, I think $100 a month is a no-brainer, and I could probably even push it higher than $100 a month. And then there's sort of this upper echelon that I don't really want to be thinking about right now of like, if you're a consultant or a marketing agency and you're doing this for multiple clients and this really is your bread and butter, like right now you have people who you're hiring to make these clips, that's a separate thing. I think then I'd charge them like per client or something. So I don't quite understand them yet. I haven't talked to a lot of those people. So what are your thoughts on three basic tiers to start with? There's the free version, there's the basic version for around $30 a month, and then there's a pro version for around $100 a month.
That sounds good. Yeah. I like the watermarking. It'd be cool, like, if in the future, I'm trying to think of how else you could segment these buckets. So certainly like either number of clips, or I'm thinking like total hours of raw video or something. Like you have to figure out what these people like, what the metric is that they use, that they know about. So like for us, for example, we have approximately an hour a week, and so like I know that I need to find something with. So if I was thinking about it, I would be like, maybe 5 hours per month of raw video or something. That's how I would think about it. But other people might think about it in terms of number of clips downloaded or something like that. So have you thought about what metric you're going to use to segment the buckets?
I have, and I don't know that I have a clear understanding of what that is yet. What I currently have, so I'm resistant to doing it based on number of hours or number of clips or something, because like our podcast is an hour a week, right? But so is the Tim Ferriss podcast. And
I see.
Yeah, and I don't know if I want to do it on number of clips, because it's better for me if you're publishing more clips. So the philosophy on this is you want to tie it to something of the more money that they're making, the more money that you make. Yeah. So the closest I can get to that, the better it would be. So, I'd love to be able to charge based on, the number of views that your clips got. I think that would be a good alignment of incentives, but that's difficult for me to do. And that also just doesn't quite make sense with the product. So another angle on this is that I can hold back some polishing branding features. Like if you want a bumper at the beginning or end of your clip, that is something that you get on the pro account. If you want to do automatic scheduling, that's a thing I can hold back for the pro account. And so you can, I still want to do integrations, because I would like to be able to front load, like even on the free tier, I'd want people to be able to have a one click, like publish this to my Twitter account button, because I think that's better for me and that's better for everyone. I want it to be easier for them to publish clips. But if you want to drip them out, if you want to publish like one a day, that's something that only the pro accounts would get, because I think that's only something pros would want. But again, that's sort of just speculation. I don't feel like I have a good handle on what the core metrics are that people who are making more money would care about. But I just find in conversations that people are sort of falling into these two different buckets. There's people who are more hobbyists, and then there's people who are like, this is their bread and butter. People like Brian Richards, who are sitting on this huge vault of media. Maybe it's bulk uploads. Maybe it's total amount of storage. And then if you just don't want to worry about it and you want to upload your entire media backlog all at once, that's a thing I could do.
I was going to say storage doesn't matter, except it absolutely, like, professionals are going to use 4K and amateurs probably won't.
Yeah.
Maybe even 720p is fine for hobbyists, but 1080 is
Yeah, I can do
the
higher
dividing
resolution on
line.
Pro. That's a...
The other thing is multiple users probably is pro. So like if you are a podcast person, when you have an editor and a clipper, you know, then that's pro. Whereas if you're just us, then, you know, just one of us, well, we have two people, but you know, just one of us would need access.
Yep. Yeah.
So those are the other options I could think of. Yeah. But I would spend some time really thinking about that. Yeah.
Okay. On multiple users, the heuristic I've heard before is that only really makes sense if different people see different things on the screen. So I think if the two of us were signing for something like this, we would just share a single login.
Yes.
So why would someone like Ramit Sethi care that there's multiple logins? Do you want to like let people do certain things?
I mean, maybe. I don't know. So talk to your users, but like I can imagine if you are someone, you have someone who uploads it and then you have someone else who's like an editor or a clipper, but you don't want them to be able to like delete videos, for example. But I also don't know if that's really a thing that people are going to want. So I guess talk to your pro users and find out if there's multiple people logging in that have different, especially like rights, admin rights.
Okay.
Or I mean, when you get to the agency case, it's easy. Like some people, you know, in big agencies, you want to be able to segment different shows. And so you want maybe like different access rights for each show so that you can have your clients actually log in as well and see different clips.
Yeah. The agency segmentation feels really straightforward because that's just supporting multiple brands. And then maybe I charge them per brand. That's an easy one to do. Cool.
Also, I would test the per brand thing because you may want to do per user or something like that, because per brand, like I could see as an agency, like I may want to keep brands on there for a long period of time so they can access it for a long time. But if I do that and it's charged per brand per month, then that's like rough. So, whereas if it's like per user on the agency side, that might be, because I don't know. I guess I don't know. What talk to your users. Yeah.
I think we have some good things to start with that.
Yeah.
Now when I'm having user interviews with people, I can figure out, okay, are you a $30 a month customer or are you a $100 a month customer? And what do you care about and what do you not care about?
Yeah.
Do you care that scheduling is automated, or are you a $100 a month customer, but there's no difference to you of having a schedule dripping it out versus just having a button where you click it? Okay, cool.
My guess is also if you're going to crop to square and like, especially if you're putting transcripts on there, then like more customizability in terms of fonts and colors and stuff will be higher dollar customers.
Yeah. So I talked about the bumpers at the beginning and end of videos, but I could push that further, that like if you want custom fonts, or if you want a background video instead of a background color, or if you want custom consulting of like, you just describe to me the thing that you want and I'll implement it for you, or like hire a designer to do that or something. Yeah. Okay. That feels like it's in a good spot.
Cool.
I'm a little frustrated that it's going slower than it was going to happen in my mind. Like when we were talking about it last week, I was like, well, you know, today and tomorrow I'll finish the clipping part of it, and then the next day I'll decide on a name and then make my Stripe account, and then I'll have 4 customers by Friday, and that's how it happens. Yeah. So, well, yeah, that's just how things go, though. That's okay.
Yeah.
Next thing to talk about, I find myself increasingly in a position with fileinbox where there are features that I could be implementing that would make one person really happy, and I don't quite know how to prioritize that. So I had this amazing customer call with someone 2 weeks ago, I think, where they basically just sold themselves on it, and they were going through and like, wow, this is great. Oh, can I do this? Yeah, I can. And I was like, this is great. What plan do I need? I guess the $100 a month plan. And I was like, oh yeah, sure. But that was like the plan that they needed. And they emailed me last week to let me know that it's an esoteric feature in the Google Drive integration, where if you have a shared drive, I thought fileinbox would support a shared drive just by putting in the path, but it actually doesn't. And in digging into the API, it's because of this weird flag I have to include in the API. So I don't really want to be making any changes to the legacy code because it would be just more trouble than it's worth to go in and fix it, and then something else breaks, and that would be a pain. So I think the way forward for this customer is to do the Google Drive integration on the serverless side and then move him over. And that's $100 a month account, right? And I want to make him happy, but that, I don't know. It feels like a distraction, and I'm so close with clips.marketing also, and I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, that if they're a $100 a month customer, then I mean, like, they're probably not going to have that. Like, uploading to a shared account sounds like something that a lot of $100 a month customers might want. Like, there are weird esoteric features that are not worth working on. This seems like one that probably is worth working on. And so maybe, and so this would be a third customer that, I think third, right, that moves to the new serverless infrastructure. And so that's one of your goals as well. So I actually think your goals are more aligned than you might think, just that you don't want to stop working on Video Clipper. You want to keep working on that.
Should I hire someone?
If you hire someone, you're going to have to if you hire someone, you're going to have to manage them. They're going to take a few months to get really up to speed. So that is a journey you can go on if you want, but if I was in your position, I wouldn't, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't, because my typical mode is to not hire. I don't know.
I think I'm in a weird spot right now where a lot of the work I can be doing to be pushing forward these businesses is technical. And so I enjoy it. I like working on stuff. I think I'm just feeling this itch of, I'm right on the cusp of, like, I can almost charge people for clips.marketing for the video clipper. Oh, that's gonna be really hard. I've been saying it for so long. I can almost charge people for the video clipper. I am right on the cusp of finally getting people to transition over to the serverless thing on fileinbox.
Yeah.
And it's just more development to get them over. But you're right. I think if I hired someone now, the ROI wouldn't be for another, 3 or 4 months. And what's the business I want to be running? Do I want to be running a business where I have a developer where I can just outsource tasks to? Maybe. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. But also, the place where I thought you were going is, do you want to be running the video clipper in 6 months or fileinbox? So, like, if you are still managing someone on fileinbox, is that going to feel good in 6 months? I don't know.
I think I want to be running both.
Okay.
I think, like, ideally they're both making around 10K a month, and I'm very familiar with what it takes to run fileinbox, and the things I'm doing now are going to make it easier to run, especially with Rachel doing customer support. It's great. And like, I think my ideal place with fileinbox is I'm just doing marketing, and the product is stable because I've gotten feature parity with the old app, and the old app has just been chugging along, like, no new features for years, and people are fine with it, and they're still paying for it. And with the serverless thing, I'm introducing a bunch of new features, and it's also much more scalable, and it's also more resilient and everything else. So, like, I feel like after I get over this hump of the product is back to where the old product is, I have the Google Drive integration and everything else, and I've improved on it, that I support shared drive, and I have all these other features people have been asking me for. I feel like after I get to that point, that it's not really going to need a lot more development. So all my time on that is going to be spent doing marketing, like buying Google ads and tweaking stuff and doing landing pages and maybe doing A/B tests. And I feel like pretty soon the video clipper is going to get to that same sort of spot. It's going to take much longer because I don't know what the feature complete product is that can be more stable. But, in a year or two, I think I could probably get there. And I think that's my ideal workday, is like every once in a while I'm doing a deep dive in code to do a bug fix or to do a feature request. But most of my day-to-day is just tweaking Google ads and like that sort of thing. That's interesting. This is the first time I've framed that the thing I want to be doing day to day is more marketing stuff.
Yeah,
that's a major shift in. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
It sounds like what you might want then, instead of an employee who's going to take a few months to get up to speed and is going to be like a long-term expense and like a big deal, you might want a consultant, like a JavaScript consultant who has done some Ruby, so they can read the Ruby code and they know what JavaScript is, and they theoretically should be able to move much faster at the beginning, and you also don't have to like worry about their long term whatever because it's a 3-month project.
Yeah.
It'll cost more, but
Yeah.
maybe not in the long term. In the long term, it might cost less.
That's going to be weird to see a quote from someone else for a software project and to see the number and be like, oh my God, well, I'm not going to pay that. I could just spend 4 weeks of my own time doing that. Hold on 1 second.
Yep.
What would I charge for someone else for it? Yeah. Interesting. That's an interesting, like, philosophical question of how, like, that should make sense if I'm spending my time or money on it, that there should be a conversion between those two. Okay. I think I'm interested in having a conversation with someone who could just jump on as a consultant. And I need to think about like what's the project that they're doing. Yep. Can I just, instead of spending time on this, can I just take an amount of money and then immediately get the goal that I've been sort of kicking the can for, of fileinbox being serverless and having the feature parity and be moving people over. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure you
and
can.
Then once I've set that up, once I've done the difficult thing for the first time, like at any point in the future, I imagine I could reach back out to this person and be like, hey, that code base that you're already familiar with, that made you a whole bunch of money when I asked you to do that thing, like, could you also fix this bug on Honey Badger or implement this feature? And that'd be kind of nice just to have that option. And I could start small, right? I could start with like, do this Google Drive integration and do it the same way that I did the Dropbox integration. I think I'm talking myself into this. Okay. Where would you look for a consultant that's familiar with React and Next and Firebase and ideally Google Drive API stuff?
My personal network first. I'd probably ask friends if they knew anyone. Then after that, I would tweet about it probably.
Okay.
I would not go to like, any of the freelancing sites. You'll have a terrible time.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Interesting being on this conversation from the hiring standpoint, because I've thought about this also from like the consultant standpoint. Yeah. Huh. Hey, Chris, do you know anyone looking for some work in React doing Next.js stuff?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I know someone who might take some Rails work, but you're not doing Rails, so
moving away from Rails. Okay. All right.
I can ask though. I have a group of people I can ask also. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you, I would appreciate you doing that if you could do that. And
all right, so let me write that. React, Firebase.
Yep.
What else?
Next.js.
Yeah.
And the Google Drive API. The Google Drive API is just like an API though. So
yeah,
that's sort of just cherry on top. If they.
Yeah. I think the big ones are React, Firebase, and Next.
Yep.
I'll ask.
Cool. Thank you. Cool. Next topic. I have been going through Josh Kaufman's personal master plan like you did a couple weeks ago. Not quite done yet, but I do have 5 pieces of paper on my desk of all the different areas of my life and all the different goals I have. And I did this rigorously. I went through my brain folder, which is just every note I've ever taken. I put it all in this one folder. And then I have a subfolder in that of anytime I've ever written goals in my life, I've put all those files in that folder, going back to like 2015. So I went through that file and looked at any goal that I had previously done that still resonated with me, that was still a thing I wanted to do. And it was kind of fun doing that because a lot of the things I have, like I wrote for the longest time that I really wanted a Tesla, and I have a Tesla now, and like that I wanted to get married and have kids and start a family. Like we're doing that. And I wanted a blue suit, and I got a blue suit. Like a gold coin also was a thing.
That seems pretty attainable compared to get married.
Yeah, right. It felt sort of like luxurious though. Yeah, but there were a couple things that I delayed for a while that were as simple as just like, oh, I just need to buy this thing. Yeah, and I bought the thing, and I have those things now. So, cool. That was kind of fun and helped, I think, give me more perspective. I think I've had a weird 2 or 3 weeks where I got sick and I cut out video games because I read this book called Boys Adrift that talked about how video games are an ambition trap, and I sort of was like, my brain felt sort of itchy of just like, I'm not quite getting the thing that I want to be getting. I'm not getting the dopamine in the same way that I was getting before, and being sick affected sleep, and that has a whole thing with me. And I think writing these goals helped ground me a little bit in terms of realizing that I right now I'm in a spot that I really wanted to be in previous versions of myself, and I can feel very thankful for that. And also, I'm never gonna like arrive at the place where just everything is great all the time. Like, that's sort of a miserable place to be in if you feel like there's nothing you can do to improve your situation. You feel like stuck and dead. So I think that experience helped me ground myself and not compare myself to others as much, and realize that it's just about continuing to improve and continuing to march forward on getting more things that I want. And it was interesting that the thing that seems to be coming out of this that's like the biggest way that I can be improving my life is by hanging out with people in person doing fun things, increasing like in-person friendships. That's a thing that I really get energized by, and having real world fun instead of video game fun. And I've been neglecting that recently because in the words of Sarah, my life has become sort of one-dimensional, like trying to hit this 20K MRR, and life is multidimensional. There's a lot of ways to improve it. So I'm going to be investing more in in-person stuff, joining clubs and groups. And there's an improv troupe close by that I'd like to be hanging out with. I built a sauna foundation yesterday. It was my first poured concrete sauna with my brothers. So cool. That was a lot of fun. I want to be doing more of that sort of thing. Oh, compound bow hunting is another thing that I think would be a lot of fun. So
okay. Have you ever hunted before in your life? Okay.
No.
All right.
What? That feels ominous.
Actually killing something seems like a big step, so I'm curious how that actually,
Yeah, I've watched YouTube videos where people describe it as this really deeply emotional, spiritual experience but like, I think I want to, like, how many animals have I eaten in my life that were killed by a machine? Like, it's not, it's philosophically inconsistent of me to not be okay with doing that if I'm doing that implicitly via my purchases. So yeah, I want to get a better handle on what that is. And also just the primal aspect of it, of like, this is probably how humans are supposed to be interacting with the world. Like, you go off in a dangerous, uncomfortable place, and you're there with a bow and an arrow, and there's an animal over there, and you got to track it down and kill it and hunt it, and it's messy and hard work, and you feel bad for the animal. And yeah, I think that would help me feel more human.
Interesting. Yeah, curious to know how that goes. This is the season for it, right? Fall is hunting season. So do you want to do that? Yes.
I don't know. I know nothing about this. I walked into an outdoor world and I was like, "Hey, I'd like to do bow hunting, and I don't really know anything about it." And he was like, "Okay, so like, what's your what's your draw weight?" And I was like, "Dude, I don't know anything about this. What is a draw weight? Is that how hard the bow is to pull back?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, that's right." Well, like, how strong are you? And I was like, "I'm pretty strong. I don't know." And there were several interactions like that where he was like, "Oh, do you want a finger trigger or a thumb trigger?" And I was like, "What's a trigger? Why do you need a trigger?" Didn't know this. It's actually really cool. There's a device that you hold that holds the string. So when watching Robin Hood, you just pull the string back with your fingers, and then you let it go with your fingers. But technology has improved since the days of Robin Hood. There's like a mechanical device where you hold the mechanical device. It looks sort of like there's a few different styles of it. One of them looks like a sort of like a brass knuckle-y sort of situation with a hook on it, and you hook the string with the brass knuckle thing and you pull it back. And then there's a button on that contraption, and when you push the button, it immediately releases the string. And then it's I don't know, I guess it's more accurate because you're not moving as much, and if you release your fingers, the string is sort of wobbling around. And it was really cool.
It also doesn't hurt your fingers as much. Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah, especially when you're dealing with the higher I forgot the term already, the weight draw weight. I think draw force. Yeah.
So it's funny because I seem to know a little more than you. I grew up in Michigan, and one of the really big, I've never bow hunted, but one of the really big things that people do is go up north to deer hunt in like November or October, whenever it opens. Cool. So I have had a lot of venison, but I've never shot any. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. That's what I want to do. Noted that we're in the start of deer season. That's good to know.
It also sounds like you won't be ready this year. So yeah, I think you have a lot to learn before. Yeah, I would also go out with someone who's done it before. Like, yeah.
Yeah, that seems necessary. Yeah. I'm excited, but yeah, I don't know. How do you find someone to help you bow hunt? I don't know anyone personally who does that. I don't think. Is that like, do you go on like Airbnb experiences and teach me how
I would
to
I would start
connect
with friends. Like I know several people, but they're all up in Michigan. I don't know what the Texas hunting season is like actually. There are places. Have you seen these places? This is kind of awful, but necessary. So wild boars are a huge problem down in Texas and Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And you can like go in a helicopter and shoot these wild boars.
Yes.
It seems so like cruel, but the wild boar like they completely decimate crops, and so they just kill as many as they can. Oh boy, yeah.
My brother-in-law. Oh, I'll just talk to my brother-in-law about this. He does like shooting with a rifle, but he has been boar hunting and brought back boar, and it tastes like spicy. Like I get heartburn like eating. It's weird. It's not
not great eating. Yeah.
No, but it's meat, and it tastes like the animal lived. It tastes like they were doing cool stuff. Cool. Okay, so that's all goal setting. Oh, a small thing here is I remembered that going to the spa is a thing that I really enjoy that like helps uplift my mood. Went to this Korean spa close by us, and they have these increasingly hot tubs, and then a really, really hot sauna, and then a colder tub. It's at like 70 degrees or something. And consistently, like no matter how I'm feeling, if I just go in all the increasingly hot tubs and then go in the sauna until I can't stand being in the sauna anymore, and then go in the cold tub and then do that one more time, I'm like vibrating at the end of it. Like I feel great, and like I'm totally focused in the moment. It's very meditative, and like there's this weird time dilation thing that happens where to me it feels like only 10 minutes have passed, but it's been like an hour and a half. So that's part of why we are interested in building a sauna at my brother-in-law's house, to be able to do that cheaper.
Cool. Yeah, it sounds. I mean, experiences are always worth whatever time or money you put into them. I think we've been talking about that more like Christmas this year for our kids. Like we have enough stuff, so sure we're gonna get them some presents, but also are there any experiences we can get for the kids? We don't have good answers yet, but yeah, we've been thinking about that like for Christmas and stuff too.
That's a fun problem. What sort of experience do you think would scratch that itch?
We don't know, but we're traveling somewhere for Christmas, and so we can't bring that many presents anyway, and we don't want more junk like around. And so there are a couple things that we think they would like, but the rest of it, like, so I was Christmas shopping yesterday on Amazon, and it's all plastic and junk, and like they're going to use it once and then not use it again. And so there are a few things that we know that they'll use over and over, and so we'll get them some of that, but otherwise, I don't know. We haven't solved that problem yet.
There's a term in my family now called a plastic heirloom. This idea that it's this cheap plastic toy that somehow has survived multiple generations. And, it's just kind of junky, and you're like, do I throw it out now, or like should you have already thrown it out? Like, getting stuff and experiences that last longer, I think is a good investment. Especially in this category of things that like uplift my mood. That's something I'd like to have a list of, like, if I'm feeling bad, here are things that I know I can do that improve my mood. I can go to the sauna. I can learn the lyrics to a rap song where the lyrics are really fast. That's something I really enjoy doing. I want to dial that list in so that when I'm in that mental state, I don't have to also do the work of thinking of what the things are that can help me. I can just do the thing.
Have you seen? Let me get the right name. Hold on. On YouTube, Mike Boyd. Boyd. Okay. He does this thing where he tries to learn something, and he like times how long it takes him to learn it. So he like learns how to do a wheelie on his bike, or learns how to flip this umbrella so it pops open in the air, or learn how to whatever. That's the type of thing I could see you doing. Like pick one of those and learn how to pick a lock. Learn how to do something fun with cards. And
how I learned to hold my breath for 4 minutes. I like
exactly. Yeah.
I really enjoy learning new things like that. That's good.
Yeah, I could see.
Oh, he recently did. Are you familiar with the chess cheating scandal?
Oh yeah,
that rocked the chess world. So he, Mike Boyd, popped up on my feed recently because he built the rumored cheating device.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Did it work? Did he win?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. And he like played an actual chess grandmaster, and the grandmaster, he played two games with them. The first one he wasn't cheating. And then the second one he was cheating. And the second game, the grandmaster at first was like, "Oh yeah, that's actually a really good move. Well done." And then midway through the game he's like, "No, why? How did you do that move? Like, I just saw you play terribly. What's going on?"
Yeah.
And then by the end of it, he's like, "You're cheating somehow. Like, this doesn't make any sense." Because he like beat him. But yeah, like he didn't. I don't want to talk explicitly about what this is, but it's a device that was rumored that could be used by Hans Niemann to beat Magnus Carlsen, I think currently the best rated chess champion in the world, that could have evaded a metal detector and like surface level things, and then could have somehow been transmitting information. So he built this thing, but didn't use it in the way that you would need to use it in a competitive setting.
Oh, okay.
Yes, he just like had it in his pants pocket. Yes. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Cool guy. Cool YouTube channel.
Some of the challenges. Some of the challenges he's done. I don't know. That might be something interesting. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Just having a short list of like, here's a list of skills that I'd like to develop. That's very insightful. That is something I really enjoy. Learning a new skill. Bow hunting could be one of those skills.
Yep. Go
out and do some target practice and stuff. That's doing stuff with like new gear, and I really enjoy that.
Yeah, it might be too. Like you go to the range a couple times, and then that's enough to satisfy your. Like you may not actually have to go full on. Yeah.
Sarah was teasing me. I called her up and I was like, I think I want to learn bow hunting. I think I want to get a compound bow. So I was just shopping for some at Outdoor World, and she was like, "Oh, so you can like use it twice and then keep it in the shed?" And I was like, "Yep." That's exactly right. Yep. That's
Maybe
what I'm gonna do.
Find a good range and go there a few times first. Like, because you can rent bows.
Yeah, bows are very like, you gotta tune them into you though. Like the draw length has to be based on your wingspan, and the amount of pounds has to be tuned into the strength that you have. And I think that may be a more difficult thing. I did find a starter kit on Amazon for $200 that includes like 20 arrows, and I don't know if it's going to be a piece of junk, but I think that's fine for what I need right
probably,
now.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Some things, it's interesting. Some things are totally fine being pieces of junk, and other things. So like I was talking when I bought a guitar, he said you could buy a guitar for like $100-$200. But if you do, you're going to be frustrated the entire time because you're not going to be able to press the strings right because the strings aren't like in the right spot, and it's not going to sound good because it's just not. So some things, like if you buy the cheap version, you're just going to be immensely frustrated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if bows are like that or not.
I'm torn on whether or not it's like that for bows. I know tuning the bow is a really big deal, that you need to like take it to a bow shop and have them dial stuff in, and there's a whole process of dialing in the sights so that the sights are lined up exactly where they need to be for aiming at different ranges and stuff. Yeah, I could see that playing out. Like, I buy the cheap bow and I try to tune it, but the hardware is just not where it needs to be to be accurate, and then I feel like I suck at shooting a bow and arrow because I'm not accurate, but that's actually not my fault. It's the fault of the bow or something. But I don't know that because this is just the first one that I've used. Yeah, okay. I don't know what I'm going to do.
All right.
I'll put the expensive one on my Christmas wish list and see if anyone in my family wants to buy me an expensive bow. That might be what I do.
Yeah. It's also probably, not to draw this out, but it's kind of like cameras. Like there's a saying that a good photographer can take a good picture with any camera, which is true. But if you buy a cheapo camera and you're bad at photography, or you're a beginner, your pictures are definitely going to be bad. Whereas if you get a good camera, then some of them will be kind of good accidentally, and you'll be able to learn more what is a good picture. So it's true that once you have the experience, you can use the cheap stuff. But if you start with the cheap stuff, sometimes it just makes you frustrated the whole time. I found that to be true, like in photography. Yeah.
You started that sentence by saying, "I don't want to draw this out," and that was a fantastic pun.
That was really good. Great.
And agreed. Yeah, this is also a really good excuse for me to like spend money on a new hobby. So I appreciate you.
Also, I realize I'm pushing you into spending more money. Don't spend more money if you're only going to use it twice.
The difference between the cheap bows and the expensive bows is like, I can buy this kit for $200, or I can get like a mid-range bow from Outdoor World for $300.
Okay.
And then I'll need to spend like another, $100, $150 on all the accessories of this stuff. But then like everything's going to be really good. So it's a difference between like $200 and like $400. So I might just
with
go
cameras, it's like $203,000.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I might just go for the nice one. We talked about bow hunting. We talked about goal setting. We talked about building a sauna. Pouring a foundation in concrete was fun. We rented a cement mixer and mixed it up. And those bags are heavy. Like it was 28 80-pound bags that the four of us were like lugging from Home Depot to the spot where it is in my brother-in-law's backyard. And you got to pour it in the cement mixer. And I got cement all over my pants and had to wash those right away. But it was a lot of fun. I know how to pour a concrete foundation now. Along the lines of learning a new skill, that's the sort of thing that I just feel in my element of like, I know nothing about this thing. Let's figure it out. Put some rebar in there to strengthen it with the tensile strength or something. I don't fully understand that. And built a form around it and had to figure out how to level it. That was really hard. But now there's a concrete foundation that I was instrumental in pouring. Cool. It was fun.
That brings up something else, which is if we're talking about experiences, sometimes volunteering is a great way to get experiences for free. So like if you're interested in construction, you can volunteer at a Habitat for Humanity site for a day or something. And at the end of the day, you're like, you have a really solid day of doing work and learning skills and you feel really accomplished. And there's bunches of places. There's, like there's outdoor places you can volunteer at. You can, so that's another thing you can look for.
That's immediately getting added to my enjoyment list from Josh Kaufman's exercise. Yeah, I forgot that I've wanted to do Habitat for Humanity for a while. I remember every time I've tried to do it, it's like really early. They start at like 6 in the morning or something.
Yes, it does.
So if I could do that, but roll up at like 10, that'd be ideal. Cool. Yeah. And then I don't have to buy any gear, right? Because I just show up and they're like, here's a nail gun. Figure it out. Yeah. Yep. Okay. I would really like to do that because I've also been very curious about home construction, and that would be a way to do home construction where I'm not paying for anything. Like I just roll up and I just do it. Yeah, I would really enjoy that. Okay, cool. Thank you. One last thing I wanted to talk about is a book that I read that I started reading because Sarah was listening to it last night at like 8 p.m. And I felt so captivated by it that I took her phone and like we started listening to it together. And then we started listening to it in bed. And then she fell asleep and I kept listening to it. And I listened to this entire book. I was up until 4 a.m. last night listening to this captivating book called I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. She's a former Nickelodeon child star. She was on iCarly and a spin-off show of iCarly where she was the lead actress. She was on it actually with Ariana Grande. And it was just, it's like being a child actor at a baseline is disgusting because you're being exploited by everyone, including your parents. There may be some exceptions to this, but I feel like every story I've heard in this space is just gross and bad. And her relationship with her mother in particular, oh my gosh, it just got me. They were so dependent on each other, and there was this parentification of Jeanette as she was young, that she was the emotional support of her mother. And the stories she tells are just gripping and horrifying and tragic. And man, it got me. And I could not put the book down until I finished it. But it sounds like she's in a much better place now. She's done a lot of work in therapy and been able to unpack these stories and dealt with a lot of deeper psychological issues, including eating disorders. And yeah, it was gripping and captivating and was worth the lost sleep.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. I'll have to check it out, although I don't know when I'll have time to read it, but that's rough.
What are you doing tonight from like 8 p.m. to 4 in the morning?
Probably working on Kaggle. Probably that's what okay. I did. I did that till 1 a.m. the last several nights. So I saw a tweet by someone who's really good at Kaggle, and he said, you can't be good at Kaggle and have a good sleep life or something like that. It's like, yes, that's true. I do a lot of my work. After my wife has gone to bed till 1 a.m. or something. It takes a very specific type of person to go into the LA scene and be a child actor, or a specific type of parent to lead it. And so that's why I think there's so many stories like that. A few that I know have had pretty good results were the Harry Potter trio, like Daniel Radcliffe and Emma Watson and Rupert Grint, right? And that's sort of because they were almost accidental stars. Like I think a couple of them did commercials or something first, and then they had to apply once, and then they were child stars without interviewing for, without auditioning. So their parents like had it was a much different way to get into child acting. But yeah, there are a lot of stories of all sorts of trouble with child actors.
That's insightful. Before Jeanette got this big break on iCarly, she had to go through this grind of several years of just getting churned through this mill of you go to you get an agent, and the agent sends you out on auditions, and you go to the auditions and you feel like you almost got it, but then you were beat out and by another girl who you saw at the audition, and then you're asking yourself, like, why didn't they pick me? Why did they pick her over me? Like, what's better about her over me? And that fed in with, like, Jeanette's mother had all these insecurities about her daughter of, like, she's not pretty enough or she's not thin enough. And oh my God, it was terrible. So that's interesting that, like, for the Harry Potter stars, if they just, they went from children to, instantly in Harry Potter, they sort of skip that step. I imagine still tons of issues with that. Like, I can't imagine growing up as like, to be internationally famous. There was this tragic part of it also where Jeanette was saying how she loved going to Disney World, but after she got into iCarly, she started getting recognized, and she hated that because now she couldn't go to Disney World, and she loved going to Disney World because people would, like, swarm her. And there was a parade apparently that she, like, disrupted so much because she was getting recognized, and, like, people were swarming around her when she was just trying to watch the parade, and they had to cancel the parade because of how famous she was. So, like, and I think previous versions of me were sort of attracted to that, of, like, how cool would it be to be that recognized and have that much fame? And
awful.
And, like, no, I wouldn't. I would hate that. That'd be terrible. I don't know. Like, being famous, I would much rather be rich than famous. Like, you get to choose when you're deploying your capital, but you're just kind of famous all the time.
That's interesting.
Very good book. I recommend it.
I bet that's something that COVID has actually been good for, because you can wear a giant mask now and a baseball hat and sunglasses and probably not be recognized at all. So that's interesting.
We've been talking a lot about, like, things that I'm doing for fun and ways that I'm getting enjoyment. I'm curious, in your own life, like, you're doing this Kaggle thing, and you got work, and you have a family. Are there things that you do for fun? Are there, like, things that you go to, or, like, clubs or sports, or I haven't heard about, like, a new hobby that you've picked up in a while. I've been focused on getting started at Google, right? So that's been a huge time sink. And Kaggle's been interesting because even though it's the same type of stuff all the time, the competitions change all the time. Like, and so I'm learning something brand new all the time. So that's great. There's stuff I haven't talked about. Like, we put together a Lego set, and this isn't a hobby, but we got a housekeeper after I got hired at Google. So she comes once every 2 weeks. That's been great. Do that. We don't have to, like, clean our bathroom mirrors anymore. That's fantastic. Life upgrades. That's good.
And we could have. It's actually not that expensive. Like, we could have done it before, but it was a good excuse to get one, and it was good.
Our current solution for not cleaning our bathroom mirrors is to not clean our bathroom mirrors.
That was our solution too. We just never did it. And every once in a while, I know.
There's a threshold where it enters my consciousness where, like, it goes from, oh, this is a bathroom mirror, to, yesterday this was just a bathroom mirror, and now it's a filthy bathroom mirror. How did that happen?
But you pay, $200 every 2 weeks or something, and it's even less than that, actually, and it goes away. So,
cool. Good life upgrade. I forgot also you're doing your master's still. I think just the class that you're in isn't very engaging. Okay. You got a lot going on. The class is not that engaging, although I do have to do my paper now, and I haven't started, and it's due in a couple weeks, and it's 10 pages, so I got to do that. Thanks for reminding me. You're welcome.
I'll probably do that over Thanksgiving, really, which is awesome. Great.
Fun. Cool. Chris, that's all I got.
That's all I got too.
Then I'll see you next week. Goodbye.